Yo, what's poppin', MVP gang? It's your boy, PraviMVP, back with another banger. And today, we taking it to the court and diving into some high IQ basketball strategy in NBA 2K25. We're talking zone defense, how to play it like a lockdown pro and break it like a scoring machine. This video is the video you didn't know you needed, but trust me, it's about to level up your game. And this whole video idea came as a topic from my Discord. So if you want to get involved with some basketball discussions, man, the link is in the bio to join my Discord. Now, before we lace up, I need you to smash that like button harder than the game-winning dunk. And if you're not part of MVP gang yet, what you doing? Hit that subscribe button and join the squad. Let's keep the energy rolling. Now, before I get into this breakdown, shout out to my first two channel MVPs, Montrell Kilgore and The Giraffe. Thank you for your incredible support. Want to join the squad and unlock exclusive perks? Hit that join button now and become a member today. It helps the channel grow and keep the dream of doing YouTube full time alive. Now let's get into it. Part 1, how to play zone. Number 1, choose the right zone formation. Zone defense is not a one-size-fits-all approach. And picking the right formation is the first step in the process to success. Each zone formation has its strengths and its weaknesses. So understanding when to use them is critical. And first, we're going to touch on the most effective and the most common zone, which is 2-3 zone. The strengths. The 2-3 zone is highly effective against teams that rely on attacking the rim. With 2 guards at the top and 3 players across the bottom, this setup creates a defensive wall around the paint. So in NBA 2K25, which is the rim runner editions, because of RNG in shooting, makes the only thing that people really feel comfortable doing is running to the rim. That's why 2-3 zone is so effective, especially in game modes like Rec, where teams don't really have the shooting to be able to really break the zone. It's going to be rare that you run into a team that has the ability to break the zone. Now, in game modes like Pro-Am and Proving Grounds, 2-3 zone might not be as successful because you're going to have higher level players on the court, especially if you silver tier and up in Proving Grounds, because you'll be playing against gold, diamond, all of that. So it's going to be it's not going to work the same way as in the modes. But in modes like Rec, 2-3 zone is highly effective. The weaknesses. It leaves the perimeter more vulnerable. So if your opponent has knockdown 3-point shooters, they might exploit this, especially from the hashes in the corner. If you can penetrate, sometimes the corners, people who are undisciplined, they're going to give up threes from the corners and the hashes. If you have good hash shooters, it's going to be able to break that down. But we'll get more into that on the other half. When to use. Deploy the 2-3 zone against teams that struggle with from behind the arc and when you want to force contested outside shots. 3-2 zone. The strengths. This setup is great for defending against perimeter heavy offense. And the smart thing to do is when the game first starts, you'll see me do it. I click through to look at what builds that they're playing with, and if I identify a bunch of orange or people in the red, that's how you know it's a 2-3 zone is gonna work. Strengths for the 3-2 zone. For the 2-3 zone, that's how you know if it's a bunch of people who don't got high shooting. But for the 3-2 zone, the strengths is this setup is great for defending against perimeter heavy offenses, as it positions 3 players up high to contest 3-point shots, while keeping 2 players in the paint to handle drives and rebounds. Weaknesses. The mid-range and corners can become soft spots if your rotations are slow, which rotations are always key in zones. When to use. Use 3-2 zone against teams with elite shooters who try to spread the floor and rely heavy on 3-point shooting. 1-2-2 zone. The strengths. The 1-2-2 zone is aggressive with 1 player pressuring the ball up top, 2 defenders ready to trap or help, and it's excellent for disrupting ball movement and forcing turnovers. Weaknesses. The paint can be vulnerable if your rotations aren't sharp, especially against quick passes into the post. When to use. This is perfect against teams that rely heavily on pick and rolls or slow ball handlers. It applies pressure and forces bad decisions. Key tip. Always scout your opponent's strengths and weaknesses before the game and tailor your zone formation to neutralize the go-to plays and to maximize your team's defensive potential. So, like I said, when the game first starts, I'd normally say it's the point guard's job because you're playing the position of the quarterback, the mind. So if you're going to run point guard, you need to look through the cards before the game start and let everybody know what are the weaknesses and strengths in the lineup. And so what are we going to run? Are we going to do this? I do that every time for my team when I'm in point guard. I'm going to look through all the cards because I just got the ability to do so. Number 2, maintain proper spacing. Spacing is the backbone of a solid zone defense. If your team lacks spacing discipline, your zone defense will crumble, leaving gaps for offenses to exploit. Stick to your zone. Each defender must know their assigned area and avoid clashing players out, crashing into players that are outside of it, chasing players that are outside of it. If a player overcommits, it creates a domino effect, exposing your entire defense. Be aware of boundaries. Visualize an invisible box in your zone and stay within it unless a rotation is absolutely necessary. Overextending leaves your zone exposed. Trust your teammates. Zone defense requires every player to handle their responsibilities. Trust that your teammates will cover their areas while you hold yours. Pro tip: use scrimmages and practicing to maintain proper spacing. Have your coach or leader call out adjustments mid-play to simulate real game simulations. Utilize Pro-Am to practice against AIs and to build chemistry with your teammates. Number 3, tip for zone: active hands and anticipation. In zone defense, turnovers are your best friend. Active hands are your secret weapon. Stay low and wide. A defensive stance with wide arms disrupts passing lanes and force the offense into mistakes. So when you got long arm defenders, you definitely want to play them lanes. It's pretty much the key to the zone. Anticipate, don't react. Watch the ball handler's body language and predict where they're going to next. Anticipation leads to steals and tip passes, which disrupt the whole flow of the offense, and it really breaks the guard's confidence. Speaking from the mindset of the guard, when you get the stealing passes, it's going to make them not even want to pass, and when you locking them up, it's going to make them lose the desire to want to play. So you always paying attention what they're doing from possession to possession, which sharpens that anticipation. It makes it so much easy to just know what they're going to do when you're actually paying attention. You don't want to be the person that's just reacting to what they're doing. You want to anticipate. Challenge every pass. Even if you can't steal the ball, tipping it slightly can throw the offensive rhythm and timing. Pro tip: practice hand-eye coordination drills to sharpen your ability to intercept passes. The more instinctive you are, the more turnovers you will generate. Tip number 4, communicate constantly. Communication is the heartbeat of a successful zone defense. Without it, confusion will take over, leading to open shots and breakdowns. Call out screens and cutters. Let your teammates know if someone is setting a screen or cutting into the paint. Early warnings prevent breakdowns. Direct rotations. If you see a teammate out of position, call them back into their zone or rotate to cover them temporarily. Stay loud and clear. Communication keeps everyone engaged and on the same page. A quiet defense is a trash defense. Pro tip: assign a vocal leader on the court to ensure constant communication. This person should act as a defensive quarterback, directing traffic and keeping the energy up, which once again, this normally falls onto the PG or the glue guy communicator on your team. As you play with people and you build that chemistry, it pretty much falls into order. Everybody know who's going to be the vocal leader. Tip number 5, control the paint. The paint is the most dangerous scoring zone, and it's your job to shut it down. Dominate with your big man. Your center or power forward must be a brick wall inside. They should be able to contest every shot and grab every rebound. Don't give up easy points. Layups and dunks are momentum killers. Challenge every drive and force opponents into tough shots. You understand? That is the entire point of a zone, to take away the easy things. If they're still scoring in the paint, your zone is trash. Like they should be taking mid ranges, fades, and stuff like that. They gotta make them do the stuff people do not want to do in this game. You know, it's a dunk or three type game, so we're not giving up. I always say, make the paint as you don't want to give up no gap. You want to force nothing but shots, mid range shots, 3-point shots off the dribble. You want all of them type of shots when you're playing zone. Protect the rim without fouling. Aggression is good, but discipline is better. Avoid unnecessary fouls that could give the offense easy free throws. Pro tip: practice defensive closeouts and shot contests during training. This will help your team build instincts for when and how to challenge shots effectively. Number 6, quick rotations, boy. Rotations are the engine of a zone defense. If they're slow or sloppy, the offense is gonna pretty much pick you apart. You got to close out fast. When the ball swings, rotate quickly to contest the shooter. A split second delay can be the difference between a missed shot and a made one. Anticipate ball movement. Watch the offense setup and predict what her pass next. Rotating before the pass arrives gives you an edge, and it just takes away the offense's desire to even try anything, especially if you're a lock and you just, as soon as that ball pass, you zip, you right there in front of them. They most likely, and that be making dudes throw scaries. They be throwing Stevies and stuff. When the rotations are sharp, that causes even more turnovers. Fill the gaps. If your teammate is out of position, rotate to cover their zone temporarily. Don't be just giving up stuff, bruh. Don't give up anything in a zone, especially to shooters. I always tell people, identify their shooters. As the game go, you know who doing what. That dude can't do it no more. The zone should shift towards him. Pro tip: run rotational drills in practice to build speed and chemistry. The more your team practices together, the sharper your rotations will be. Tip number 7. Adapt to offensive strategies. Zone defense isn't static. It must evolve throughout the game. Extend to contest shooters. If your opponent starts hitting outside shots, stretch your zone higher to apply pressure on the perimeter. Collapse on penetration. If the offense is attacking the gaps, tighten up and clog the driving lanes. That's where the corner's supposed to, suck in a little bit and then slide back out. Man, them slides in the zones is what makes it deadly. And switch formations mid-game. Confuse the offense by switching different zone setups. For example, starting a 2-3 zone and then switch to a 1-2-2 for added pressure, or a 3-2 to force them to change their attack. Pro tip: use timeouts to analyze the offensive strategy, make adjustments, and sometimes a small tweak can turn the tide in your favor. We definitely have done this as I've been running with people from my Discord. If we notice the 2-3 isn't working, we'll just go straight man and just have help within the man. Like, that's the best strategy on here. If the 2-3 ain't working, especially in rec, we just switch the man. Now, I'm going to start with the same tips I'm giving y'all is what I'm about to do with my team. The pro team that I'm trying to build, which is, if you want to be a part of this, man, get in the Discord. The link is in the bio. I'm going to be running practices to help people learn how to play zone. Because what I noticed is a lot of people don't know how to play zone because they've been running with randoms for so long. So when you bring them out of that, even when we're playing zone, a lot of breakdowns happen just off the fact people just not used to it. So if you want to be a part of that, man, join the link in the Discord. Number 8. Limit second chance opportunities. Rebounding is a common weakness in zone defense, but it doesn't have to be. Box out aggressively. Assign every defender to box out an offensive player. Don't allow anybody a free path to the ball. Crash the boards. If your center isn't a dominant rebounder, your corner should stay behind to help secure long rebounds. Everyone on the team must contribute on rebounds because we know they bounce out in the zone. I'm even guilty of it. Sometimes I'll be already running out and the ball came in my direction. But if you know your team is struggling on rebounds, that's when people supposed to stay behind, stop leaking out, or it's only really the top is only really supposed to leak out in the zone. I hope y'all really know that. The corner's really supposed to stay behind and stay disciplined, but the guards are supposed to get out and do their thing. That just helps build momentum. If your guard get hot, it's easy to make the whole team hot. Focus on the fundamentals. Strong rebounding requires discipline and effort. Make it a team priority. Pro tip: rebounding drills specifically for zone defense. This will help your team build habits needed to limit second chance points. Tip number 9. This is a very important one. Don't guard empty space. Zone defense is about guarding areas, but do not get lazy or fall asleep. Engage the offense. Don't just stand around in your zone. Move to cover active threats and anticipate their next move. Stay alert. Watch the ball and the players, not just your area. Zone can be broken by good off ball movement, so stay engaged. When no one is in your zone, take that as an opportunity to trap someone nearby or crowd an area you see the most success coming where you see the most success coming from. It gives you, when nobody is in your zone, that gives you the opportunity to be a defensive playmaker. That is when you could go for a steal, try to, that is your opportunity to shine within the defense when nobody in your zone. It don't mean don't do nothing. It don't mean just stand over there. I see a lot of people make that mistake. Don't ever do that. Pro tip: play with intensity. A zone defense works best when every player is fully locked in. You gotta lock in. That is the key to defense, and it's definitely the key to zone. Number 10, practice discipline. Practice and discipline are your best friends in zone defense. Avoid overcommitting. Don't leave your zone to chase blocks or steals unnecessarily. This creates gaps for offenses to exploit. Stay grounded. Don't jump at every pump fake. Stay in control and force the offense into mistakes. That's what the zone is all about. Trust the system. Zones are designed to frustrate the offense and slow them down. Stick to the plan, even when it feels like it's not working. Pro tip: review game footage to identify moments of poor discipline. Learning from mistakes is the key to improving. Part number 2: how to break zone. Number 1, ball movement is king. Quick, purposeful ball movement is the kryptonite of zone defense. Zones thrive on defenders staying disciplined in their areas, but rapid passing forces them out of position. Swing the ball. Pass the ball from one side of the court to the other quickly. This forces defenders to shift and increases the likelihood of them making a mistake. That's all you need. A zone can easily be broken via mistake. Avoid holding the ball. Don't let the offense become stagnant by holding the ball too long. The longer you wait, the more comfortable the defense becomes. Use quick decision making, whether it's a pass, shot, or drive, to make the decisions fast to keep the defense off balance. Pro tip: practice drills focused on rapid ball movement and passing under pressure. This will sharpen your team's instinct and ability to exploit the zone. Number 2, attack in the high post. The high post / free throw line area is one of the weakest points in most zone defenses. If you can get the ball there, you'll disrupt the defense. Position a playmaker. Place a skillful player in a high post who can shoot, pass, or drive. They become a pivot point for breaking the zone. Force collapses. Once the ball's in the high post, defenders often collapse inward, leaving teammates open on the perimeter or cutting to the basket. Be versatile. Encourage your high post player to read the defense and make quick decisions. A well-timed pass or shot can completely dismantle the zone. Pro tip: use drills to simulate the feeling of the ball in the high post and use defensive pressure. Repetition will build confidence and consistency in these scenarios. Number 3, overload one side. Overloading is a classic strategy to exploit zone defense by creating a numerical advantage on one side of the court. Stack the offense. Position 3 to 4 players on one side of the court to overwhelm defenders in that area. Create gaps. By overloading one side, you force defenders to make tough choices, either stay in their zone or rotate and leave another area open. Exploit the weak side. After drawing defenders to one side, quickly swing the ball to the opposite side for an open shot or a driving lane or area for the point guard or a high offensive quality player to be able to just cook and create. Pro tip: use a mix of cuts and screens on the overloaded side to make it even harder for the defenders to stay disciplined. Number 4, attack the gaps. Driving into the seams of the zone is one of the most effective ways to force defensive breakdowns. Look for weak points. Identify areas where two zones meet, between the guards or between guard and forward. These are often the most vulnerable. Be aggressive. Don't hesitate to attack with speed and confidence. This forces defenders to collapse, opens up passing lanes for kickouts and dumps off. Use ball fakes. Ball fakes can draw defenders out of position, creating wider gaps to exploit. Pro tip: practice one-on-one drills where players work on attacking gaps while teammates position themselves for kick out passes or cuts. Tip number 5, skip passes to stretch the defense. Skip passes are a great way to exploit zone tendency and shift slowly across the court. Catch defenders off guard. Skip passes force defenders to react quickly, and that's just holding A and pointing it in the direction you want to. Skip passes force the defenders to react quickly and often leading to mismatches or open shots. Stretch the zone. A well-placed skip pass can force defense to stretch out, creating larger gaps in the middle. But be conscious. Skip passes are high risk, high reward. Make sure your passer has good vision and the accuracy to avoid turnovers. Pro tip, practice skip passes during scrimmages to build confidence to ensure players know when and how to use them effectively. Number 6, off-ball movement creates confusion. Zone rely on defenders focusing on the ball. So effective off-ball movement can disrupt their rhythm and open up scoring opportunities. Use cuts, backdoors, baseline cuts, and flash cuts to the high post can create easy scoring chances. Set screens. Off-ball screens can free up shooters or create mismatches in the zone. Distract defenders. Constant movement forces defenders to make decisions, increasing the likelihood of mistakes, which that's all you need. I'd be tearing people up when they're in the zone. You can see it. The center, when you see the center typically sitting in the paint and it's 2 guards up top, I'd be calling cuts from the corner. Work very effective. Cut from the hashes. Very effective because the center eventually has to move. He can't just stand directly in the paint, and all you need is that sliver of space. So that's really telling you. And that is how you destroy it. Pro tip. Incorporate off-ball movement drills into your practices to help players learn how to read the defense and make smart cuts. And then on the cut, a lot of times when the cut is made and it makes the other corner help. And the dude who's cutting got to have passing IQ too, because some teams can rotate, but they're always leaving something open. It's just your team has to be smart enough to identify it. Number 7, and this is the easiest way and most obvious way. Shooters in the 4 corners, aka 5 out. Spacing is critical for breaking a zone. Placing shooters in the corners and the hashes creates dilemmas for the defense. Exploit the corners. Zones often leave corners open, so positioning shooters there forces the defenders to stretch out. Stretch the defense. With shooters spread across the perimeter, the defense has to cover more ground, creating larger gaps inside. Be ready to shoot. Corner shooters must be prepared to catch and shoot quickly, as these opportunities could close fast. Pro tip, run shooting drills specifically from the corners to ensure your players are comfortable and confident shooting from these spots. People don't understand how important the corners are in when you're doing any kind of spacing strategy. If your corner shooters are not knocking it down, that's going to make it very difficult to beat any team in this game. It's so important. Like, I know we put our best shooters on the hashes, but really they should be in the corners because those are the threes that's coming open the most. And when people are not cashing them in, it really makes me upset. I ain't gonna lie, because I feel like I'm not really gonna miss that shot. You get what I'm saying? If you give me a wide open shot in the corner, you really up. You really messed up. Like, that's a super high percentage shot. So people have to convert that at a high rate. Number 8, and it's the one that come open the most. Tip number 8. Crash the boards. One of the biggest weaknesses of the zone is rebounding. Take advantage by attacking the grass aggressively, especially when you spot that they big can't really handle it. Assign crashers. Make sure multiple players are focused on offensive rebounding, especially on zones that lack size. Box out the zone. Teach players how to find gaps in the zone and position themselves for rebounds. Capitalizing on second chances. Offensive rebounds can lead to open putbacks or quick kick out for threes. Pro tip. Include rebounding drills that focus on offensive boards against a zone setup to prepare your team for these opportunities. Tip number 9, patience and poise. Breaking a zone requires discipline. Rushing leads to turnovers and bad shots. Be methodical. Be thoughtful. Take your time to move the ball and find the best scoring opportunity, especially when they playing chess with you, especially when they rotating and moving around and covering holes. You have to be more strategic. Some games you can be quick and attack, but a lot of them, if they know what they're doing in their zone, you're going to have to think that game through. Don't force it. The defense is well set, reset, and try again. Forcing plays only gives the advantage back to the defense. And this is a big one, bro. That is a big one. A lot of people, when I'm playing PG, sometimes I'll pass it to my wing or my corner just to reset it back, and they just go off and attack and do stuff, and just it'd be a turnover or a bad shot. Reset the play. That is always the smartest thing to do. Wait for mistakes. Zones are designed to frustrate offenses, but be patient. Often being patient leads to defensive lapses. Pro tip: simulate late game situations in practice where your team needs to stay composed under pressure to break a zone. Tip number 10: pick and roll to force rotations. This will kill a zone. If a team really know how to run pick and roll, this absolutely destroys a zone every single time, because the corner is gonna come open, hash is gonna be open. It just opens up everything, because if it's a good pick and roll team, a zone is hard to run against it. I ain't gonna lie, especially because it's gonna open up a bunch of stuff. The pick and roll is a universal tool that works well against zones to create mismatches and open space. Target the perimeter defenders. Use the pick and roll to draw defenders out of their zones and force rotations. Collapse the zone. A good roll to the basket forces defenders to collapse, leaving shooters open and creating driving lanes. Read the defense. The ball handler must read whether the defense hedges, switch, or stays. Make the right decision. Pro tip: practice the pick and roll with different angles and pairings to make your team unpredictable and adaptable during games. Man, that's it for this one, y'all. If you made it this far, you're a real MVP. Comment down real MVP with no spaces in between in the comment section so I know you watched the whole thing. Mastering zone defense and learning how to break it is a game changer. Whether you're running solo or with a squad, smash that like button, drop a comment with your favorite tip, and don't forget to subscribe for more high IQ 2K content. Stay locked in, stay blessed, and I'll catch you on the court. PraviMVP signing out. Blessings to the Most High. Peace.